lot more daring than a lot of sculptors in the way that he's able to remove much more stone than I think that most people do. You know, you see a lot of stone sculptures that are sort of one block with things taken out, and you don't see a lot of what he does, a lot of which is these holes that you can go straight through the sculpture. You know, and he's really working with the fact that stone's such a strong material, and he can remove huge amounts of it, leaving wide open space, and still have a structurally sound and stable feeling sculpture. Never in his work do you feel like he's changed the material to something else. A lot of his sculptures, I mean, some of the ones he's worked out of natural boulders, you know, you still see it's like a work that is the intrinsic work within the natural sculpture itself. You know, he's using the skin of the boulders and all that to create these sculptures, showing the possibility of what's contained within.
I started carving marble at the Putney School. They had a small small amount of tools, basically a air chisel and some marble, and I started carving and just loved that process. I just totally fell in love with kind of how stone responds to the chisel. I did a lot of hand carving and really liked that process. You know, I was like 14 when I started. It's been 12 years. I counted about 10 that I've really been carving professionally. You know, once I touched granite, I haven't looked back. Yeah, there's nothing like, for me, there's nothing like really getting into a sculpture and kind of battling your own kind of, you make your own problems within your kind of mind, you know. You kind of get, you're really just getting in your own way. So it's really a kind of personal struggle within the stone.
It's definitely a challenge. I think the biggest challenge is day to day, because he is self-employed, he works for himself, and so for us it's a huge benefit because he's here at home. You know, his studio's outside, so he's right here, but that means that there's a constant sort of struggle between having to, you know, be wanting to be with his family and having to be with his family and family obligations, and, you know, being committed to being a sculptor and putting in the necessary time. So for a long time I think it was hard for us to figure out that balance, and finally we ended up just having him work a normal work week, because then we had that set in stone and it didn't, you know, get messy and get complicated, because he always feels that pull to want to be out there working, one for his career and because it's his business, and one because he's a passionate artist.
Having a wife and 2 kids, they're always, you know, my studio's right next to the house, so I'm often called for, you know, kid won't take a nap, or, you know, Leander has, you know, whatever issue. Often I'm pulled into that, and it's hard to get away when, you know, the house is chaos. So that's been really a hard struggle. I mean, having 2 kids, we had 2 kids in diapers for a while. So yeah, it's kind of a nice thing to be able to kind of go, everything kind of goes away as I'm working on these curves and really kind of going into the stone, and it's great.